In today's video, I'm going to show you guys a very simple and profitable trading strategy that you can use to pass challenge in basically any prop firm, and you can make money basically every single day. I use the same strategy today, and it helped me to pass a phase 100k with ftmo, and I was also be able to pass some challenge with Funded Next as well as Alpha Capital. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you guys a step-by-step how you can choose your trading pairs, how you can choose your trading session, and how you can implement the strategy step-by-step to start making some money. So make sure you stick till the end of this video to understand exactly what I'm going to teach you so I can start applying. Let's get into the video. Alright, so guys, welcome to my screen. So these were the two setup I took today on gold. So the first setup was around 8 hours, okay, and the second setup was around 12 to 15 hours if I remember well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete everything off chart, and I'll show you guys exactly how you can analyze the same way I do so that you can start making money and master the strategy. So let me delete everything, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to replay price exactly at this one. So first thing, when you want to trade, you want to get the trading session. So for the trading session, for me, there are only two sessions I'm interested. I have London session and New York session. So if it is not London or New York, then I don't trade. Okay, so in this case, as I always tell you guys, I have this box that shows me my session. So this is the opening of my London session, and this is my Asia session. I don't trade Asia, I only trade London. So in this case, if I see that I'm free for London, I only trade London. So I come on the chart and I look for London session. So as I now got this session, now the next thing you have to choose is the trading pair, and in this case I've traded gold. Most of the time I trade EU, but in this case I haven't traded EU is because I traded EU yesterday, but that thing missed my TP. If I come to EU and I zoom in, this was the setup I had. You can see that I had the 8-hour TP here, but then on my broker somehow price didn't hit my TP, so price came back and it took me out. I was really pissed. So that was the reason why I was like, okay, let me try to trade gold. And then after you getting the trading pairs and getting the trading session, the next thing you want to get is the market structure. And on this one, even if I stick on this 1 minute chart, I zoom out, you can see that we are obviously bullish. You can see that, let's say price been going bearish here. In this case, you see price been going bearish, and then he gave you a change of character, he pulled back, he mitigated this guy, and then he gave a buy, he gave a pullback, buy, pullback, buy, and eventually pull back for a new buy. So you can see that the market structure is bullish. When market structure is bullish, you only want to buy. Okay, so now that you've decided that you want to buy, now next thing, this is my setup. Okay, so my setup, the first thing you want to look for is the liquidity, and the second thing you want to look for is a PY. So for the liquidity, it can be anything. It can be double top, it can be double bottom, it can be trend line liquidity, it can be any of these three. It can be more equal lows, equal highs, yeah, but in this case, let me just say that we have some let's say it's some trend line liquidity here. So if we have a liquidity, all I want to see price doing is I want to see price sell, mitigate, or let's say take my liquidity. Okay, after price taking the liquidity, then price can give me a buy setup to the opposite direction. So all I'm interested is I want to see price sell, take the low, and then I'm going to look for a buy setup somewhere inside of that. So as now you got the liquidity and you wait for price to come take and give you a setup. Now one more thing that you can add is really optional, but you have to add it anyway, is to get an order block. So order blocks are things I don't use it much, but in this case, if you can get, let's say, an order block somewhere below your liquidity, it can be a good confidence for you for the buy setup. So here you have the liquidity, and then price come, let's say you have some previous low here, then price come, mitigate your order block, take the liquidity and give you a buy setup. So all you have to do is you can enter with confirmation or without confirmation, depends on you, but you have to enter there and then have, let's say, TP at previous high or something, or you can have your TP as maybe your target in terms of percentage or anything. So in this case, when I look at this price action, I have to identify my liquidity. As I already know that the market structure is bullish, my liquidity, I can clearly see that we have this trend line liquidity that price created here. So all I want to see price doing is I want to see price come, take that liquidity, and then give me a buy setup. Do you see that? So we broke this high, break a structure, and then you want to see a pullback, take the liquidity, and then boom, buy setup. Easy as that. And then, as I said, you want to look for POI as confidence. In this case, you have, I don't know, you have maybe a 1 minute POI here, or you can also have, I think was it on the 3 minute. If you go to the 3 minute, you can also see that we have some 3 minute order block here. So we also have some 3 minute order block. So you just want to see price come take the liquidity, which I think on the 3 minute you see that is what it did. You come, you take the liquidity, you mitigate your POI, and then you buy to the upside. So that's what price did, and then you went bullish. But for my entry, for me, there's one more thing I use that I'm really not gonna teach in this video. I have it in my mentorship, so if you want to get access to it, make sure you check the link in the description. So there's something I call by accumulation and distribution. I'm not talking about Wyckoff or anything like that. It may be similar, but in this case, when price come and let's say he's rejecting my thing, and when this schematic happen, I see that this is an accumulation for me. So I just wait for price to pump break that, and then I have my buy there, and I have my sellers below the low here. So when I have that, in this case, when I trade challenge, I used to risk 0.5% per trade, but I see that it takes me way too long to pass the challenge. So currently I'm risking around 1% to 1.5% per trade, for challenge, of course. Okay, so in this case I've taken the buy, and I'm only gonna look for something like 8R. So if I get 8R, then that would be exactly 8%, and it will help me to pass the challenge. So I have to look for somewhere around 8R or 7 point something, but it should be around 8R. And of course the TP has to make sense. You don't just like extend things somehow. So in this case I have this whole gap. Okay, you see this gap that I want to see price come and fill. So it makes sense why I had to like extend my TP until the zone you saw there. So let me go back. So this was the first position I've had with Alpha Capital, 50k. You can see the entry on the screen here. This was exactly what I had. So price, it took a while, but eventually he bought, and then he played around, and then he went, he TP. I think my TP was even way higher, and my sellers was a bit below. I don't know, because I think I got out after entering on my ftmo account. Okay, so after this was one. Okay, I wanted to trade again. Okay, like I wanted to get another position. If I want to get another position, I have to do the same thing. I have to look for my liquidity, and I have to look for my POI. So in this case, when you look at the market structure again, you have a breakout structure. You want to see a pullback for a new breakout structure. So we are now waiting for a pullback for a new buy setup. So that pullback, you have a low as, let's say, A, and then you have a high as a B. So a pullback inside for a buy. Price will definitely take some liquidity. So that liquidity that price will take, in this case, you just have to zoom in and look for it. And then for me, I got this relative equal lows, or I can even make it this sort of trend line, or I don't know, it looks more of like trend line. So you wanted to see price doing what? You wanted to see price come take this liquidity and give you a buy. But again, as I said, when you get your liquidity, you want to get it a POI, an order block, or anything that price can mitigate. So if you see there's nothing below, you can tell me, okay, maybe this guy, but for me this is not a trusted order block. I can't really use this guy as a newbie. Again, it's not like a red candle. It's not a red candle. It doesn't really look like another block, so I really don't have a reason to use that. But if you try to look on your left, you'll see that price gave you these highs. Let me try to go to something like the 3 minute. So when I zoom here, you can see that price gave me this previous OB. Okay, this is like a what do you call it? This is an order block, or a bearish order block, like a supply zone. So that supply zone, when price breaks, then it becomes a demand zone. Like you can even call it like a breaker block. So for me, I use breaker block for entries as well. So in this case, what do we have? We have our liquidity zone, and we have our breaker block right below here. So all you want to see price doing is you want to see price drop, take the liquidity, mitigate the breaker block, and give you a buy setup to the upside. So here, when I replay price, you'll see that price, it took he played around a bit, and then eventually came, he mitigated this guy, and then he started giving us a buy. And the same thing happened. You can see that he started giving us this accumulation thing again. So all I had to do is I had to buy from the accumulation. Okay, my stop loss below this guy, and then my TP was also based on that huge gap I had on the higher time frame. And that's what price did exactly. Price bought, and eventually it went even higher than the TP I had. You see that price went crazy. The TP I had on my ftmo account was somewhere around this high. I remember it was exactly around this zone that price hit my full TP, and then the other one I took TP somewhere around this zone. So the stall was, I think it was somewhere a bit below. So this was pretty much around 8 hour, and this was pretty much around I don't know, 14 to 15 hour or 13 hour. These were the two setup I had. So if you apply all I said here, and then you have a challenge account, you risk the risk. You can risk 1%, you can risk 0.5, it depends, but for me I think 1% is okay. So if you risk 1%, you get the 8 hour and you pass it very easily. So you can see this was exactly the entry I had on Alpha Capital. This was the entry, this was the exit which I had here, and then the other setup was this one, okay, which was the ftmo at this low, and this was exactly what I got exited, and that allowed me to pass both phase one on Alpha Capital and ftmo. I also traded funded next, and it was basically the same setup I had for Alpha Capital, and I passed all the 3 challenges, which was really nice. For the ftmo, it was an account that was already down. I was down 4 point something percent, but this one trade, which was I think around 14 to something, and as I said, I risked 1.5%, and that was enough to recover all those losses and then make that 8% 10% target. So that was a 14% on this one trade, and I passed all of them. So if you are interested into having a full details trading course, make sure you check the link in the description of this video. You'll have access to everything you want to learn the strategy and then start making some money. And thanks for watching the video. If you like this sort of content, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.